Welcome to Olympian Water Testing, giving you the best in water analysis. Today we're looking at the Center for Environmental Health at the Department of Health of New York State and public water systems and New York drinking water standards for PFAS and other emerging contaminants. So, where do PFAS come from? We know they're called forever chemicals, things like adhesive, water repellent clothing, furniture, paint and varnish, heat resistance on sick surfaces, pesticides, insulation of electric wires, and food packaging. We know PFAS are contaminants used in many products that have been linked to health issues. This could be cancer, organ issues, and more. New York State has been developing drinking water standards, also called maximum containment levels. If you watch these channels, you know it's called MCLs. And it's also not just for PFAS, but also for things like heavy metals. And this is to address these contaminants, starting with the two most common, PFAS and PFOs. And public drinking water with these or above must be treated to reduce levels below the MCL. So if it's too high, it has to be treated. So New York's drinking water standard for emerging contaminants are among the most protective in the country. In 2020, New York State set the maximum containment level of 10 parts per trillion, 10 ppt, for PFOA and PFOS, 1 part per billion, and 1,4-dioxane. New York was the first state to develop an MCL for 1,4-dioxane and is working to pass even more drinking water standards and notification levels for up to 23 PFAs. Also, the Department of Health continues to review the evolving science around health risks associated with drinking water contaminants, closely following by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and other states, and will update or develop additional drinking water standards as needed to protect public health. Some things to note are drinking water standards set maximum containment levels that are the highest of the contaminant allowed in the drinking water by public water systems. Also, MCLs require public water systems to regulate, monitor for contaminants, notify health departments and the public of confirmed exceedance, and work health departments of a timetable and plan to bring water systems into compliance. MCLs are set levels that are protective, which means that the risk of health effects if someone drinks the water or below the MCL is minimal. And MCL does not mean that the water is unsafe for use while public water system takes action to reduce it. Also, MCLs are different from health advisories, HALs, such as the EPA's interim advisors for PFOA and PFOS. We also have the public water system requirements in New York, must monitor for more than 100 different contaminants on a regular schedule, including PFOA, PFOS, and 1,4-dioxane. It must report all PFAs, including analytical methods, when they detect any level, PFOA or PFOS, and that helps identify additional unregulated PFAs as well. New York largest and smaller public water systems must also monitor for a select list of emerging drinking water contaminants every 5 years under the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. As with all MCLs, water systems must notify their local health department of any exceedances. If there is a confirmed exceedance, the public water system will work with their local health department to notify the public and develop a course of action. And some water systems will need to make significant infrastructure upgrades to their water processes, and these projects could take several years. So that's some good information on New York and how they're handling PFOA, PFOS, and 1,4-dioxane. And it's good to see that the cities are really taking a long and hard look at this and coming up with some ideas to protect their citizens with their drinking water standards with MCLs and the public water system requirements. That being said, these chemicals are dangerous, so it's always a good idea to periodically test your water for PFAs and PFOs.